Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today we reach the fourth of the videos which I've been making over the last week, which focus upon cultivating the charisma in your life. And today it is about living with purpose and integrity, which are fundamental to the charismatic journey for the gentleman seeking to be a better version of himself. Because the truly charismatic man stands for something. He has substance in his life. He has values at his core and he stands by them. He lives his life by them. Now, if you've ever done a job which has required you to take an oath before you begin that job, maybe law enforcement, armed forces, some other form of government job, we know where you have to be sworn in and you take on your responsibility at that point. Maybe you've served in a jury and you've given that oath to say that you will be truthful and honest in your decisions. It gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. That really is what living with integrity and with purpose means in your life. You know what you're doing. Now, I say this is something which is essential for the charismatic man. And I'll just take a moment to reflect upon what is charisma. Remember, charisma is that blend of confidence, presence, magnetism, all of those things drawn together, which, make you eminently capable of living your life and instilling with the people that you meet a confidence that you can do that and perform very well. That is what charisma is. Basically, a confidence to stride through life with the knowledge you can deal with it. And this is important because in the modern era in which we live, I'm shocked every time I see these surveys come up in newspapers. But, this current generation of the people who we are entrusting the world to, Gen Z as they are called. I believe I'm a Gen X person myself, but Gen Z, right? These people have lost that sense of purpose and integrity. Not all of them, of course not, but taken as a broad picture of Generation Z, they're not as they used to be a generation ago. And I'll give you an example. Right? In a recent national newspaper, they conducted a survey, and it was identified that only 40% of the current generation, Gen Z, feel any sense of pride in their country at all. And that is reflected in another more important factor. Only 1 in 10 have said that should the need arise, they would take up arms and fight for the existence of their country. 1 in 10. Now, bear in mind, this is a British survey. These are British people making these observations. Only 40% have any sense of pride in their country. 1 in 10 would defend their country. 80 years ago, the generation that existed then risked everything to defend the integrity of the world in the Second World War. They saved the world from having an unspeakable future by putting their lives on the line and often making sacrifices. That is kind of what I'm talking about here. Charisma is about living with purpose and integrity. And that seems to be deficient from the current world. It's not only about presence, personal growth, self-development, all these things that we often talk about, which you'll see spoken about on YouTube channels. It is about having substance to your life. What it is that drives you forward. Purpose and integrity. I've got a few actionable tips here today, which if you don't already employ in your life, they might be valuable for you to reflect on. Because if you're not doing these things, you may not have the charisma at your disposal, which may be there for you to try. So, let's begin. Now, my first tip for you is a relatively straightforward one, which any of us can do anytime we want. And that is really to define your core principles and actually live by them. And you can do this yourself, right? Get your journal. I have my journal here. I keep my notes in there. It helps me stay on track, right? In this journal, what I want you to do is sit down and write down the principles that matter to you most in the life that you're living today, and how you project yourself in the future, the sort of chap that you would like to be. And when I say define your principles, write them down, I mean, is it loyalty, which is important to you? Is it things like tradition? Is it, courage, self-discipline? All of those things which you would like to be, if you're not already, that you would like to be in the future. Write them down. Put them on a sheet of paper in your journal. I don't care how you do it. Write it on the family calendar in the kitchen, if that's all you have at your disposal. And when you've done that, think about those values. You might want to refine them a bit, let them sit there for a week, come back, look at them again. Refine them. And then get out there and live your life by those values. Because these are the values by which you will set the tone for the rest of your life. Right? And it might come to the fact that once a month you want to think, ooh, I've got some things I've got planned up ahead. Do these things fit in with the values that I have mapped out for myself? Do they involve loyalty, integrity, national pride, doing something for my community, looking after my family's best interests? These are the core values which you will live your life by. And they will help you move through your life as a more confident man, because you know the things that you're doing resonate with the values that you set out for yourself. And it will just give you that charisma, that sense of purpose, because you know what you're doing is the right thing to do for you. And remember, a man who knows what he stands for in life, the values which are important to him, rarely has to explain himself to anybody else, because he knows internally that what he's doing is right for him and those who are important to him. Now, my next tip for you really is, actually it's a good standard by which to lead your life and to be a mentor and demonstrate in front of the upcoming generations. And that is basically, say what you mean and mean what you say as you go through life. And what I mean by that, we live in a world of vague commitments, don't we? Of broken promises all of the time. I mean, just look at the people who govern us, the politicians who run our nations. When they're seeking our vote, they will tell us anything that they think will get us to vote for them. But then, once they are in power, they seem to go off in a different direction. And I'm not saying they'll sell us out, but they will do what's best for their government to ensure that they retain power. And in a world where that's become the norm, people will tell you one thing and they won't follow through on it. Being a man of your word is actually a quiet form of rebellion, because you will stand out amongst other people, because it will become quickly known. If you say you're going to do something, you will do it, regardless of what the outcome and the consequences are. Because if you're a man of your word, whose word is your bond, that in itself doesn't just breed respect and a sense of confidence in you from other people, but it will also enhance your own sense of self-discipline and confidence and self-assurance that the situations that you face in life are ones which you can take on. It is a powerful demonstration of your integrity, just being a man of your word. And when I say, what did I say? Say what you mean as part of that. It's very much a part of, don't overpromise things that you don't think you can ever achieve, as politicians sometimes do. Don't speak carelessly. Don't say things that are likely to hurt other people's feelings just because you have the power to say those things. Think about what you're saying and the impact of those words out there on the world, and how you staying true to your word makes a difference to those around you. Whether it's simple things like being on time. When you say you're going to be there at 6 p.m, there's nothing on this world which will stop you being from there on 6 p.m. unless you've had an accident on the way. It's also things like, following through on the promises. If you say you're going to help a friend move home, help carry their furniture next weekend, you put other opportunities on hold because you said you're going to do it. And, that follows through to every element of life. Simple promises, or whether you say, yes, I am going to defend the perimeter wall at the Battle of Oaks Drift. Right? If you say you're going to do it, you bloody well do it. And there's not much in this world which will drag you away from achieving that goal. Because reliability, doing what you say, builds trust with other people. Trust builds respect, and all of these things, mean a great deal towards that sense of charisma which you're seeking to achieve, which you're seeking to build into your life. Because all of these words that you say, promises, actions that you're going to do, they have weight with the people that you talk to, and that weight gets heavier and heavier every single time you follow up on your word and do what you say you're going to do. And those words that you say, they don't just have weight with people because you say them loudly. It's because, you are trusted to achieve those words that you've said, because they know you're going to do it. And remember, your character, your charisma, is not built up in the eyes of other people just by grand gestures, saying you're going to do something huge. It's by the small gestures, day after day, the grinding activities of life. That is where you build your charisma and your trust with other people. Now, my final tip for you today, of the series really, of how to bolster your charisma in life, is basically that align your daily life with a greater purpose. Because really, charisma deepens when your life has more meaning than just about you yourself. Now, that can be any number of things. It can be a deep and unswerving commitment to your family. It can be a deep-seated responsibility to looking after some element of your community. You might volunteer for a charity. It might be that you spend time mentoring the next generation. You might be an adult instructor with the Scouts or the Cadets or whatever it might be in your local community. You are bringing the next generation to their understanding about the future so that they are not one of the 40% who, or 60% who don't feel pride in their nation and their community and their position in this world. And that should the need arise, they would fight for their existence. Because those 9 out of 10 people who said they wouldn't take up arms for their country, that means they don't care for the life that they're living. And living your life with a greater purpose, helping, supporting, volunteering, caring, that really is where you will find your strength of character deepening. And of course, don't forget, deepening, growth, overcoming challenges, that is what forges charisma. The person who's been through all of these things, does these things, it is the charismatic person. And all of these things that I talk about, living life with purpose, these add gravity to the life you lead. And that means that charisma for you is not about ego or vanity or being, the loudest, brashest person in a room, the one who always speaks up, whose voice is heard above everybody else's, who wears the most outrageous and flamboyant clothes. That's not charisma at all. Charisma is more about the impact that you have on this world, not about you, the person. It's about the difference that you make. If you were to drop dead right now, how would people judge your contribution to the world? And that's kind of, for me, what charisma is all about. A man with a purpose in life who has a goal and he's striving towards it and he's doing his best to do that. He's not somebody who just impresses people around him. He's somebody who inspires the people that he meets on his journey. And I think that's very important, because living your life with substance is actually all about building that charisma. So there we go. I know it's somewhat of a philosophical series that we've just completed, a week of talking about cultivating charisma in your life. But I hope, it's given you time to sit and think and reflect upon perhaps where you are now, where you'd like to be, and what you've got to slot in the middle to make it happen. If you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe for more. Ask me a question. Tell me what you think was the most defining moment in your journey to charisma in your life. Drop it into the comments section or send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget you can support the channel by just subscribing, or if you want to get more involved, you can become a patron. For a tiny monthly fee, you will benefit from the additional videos which I make, exclusively for patrons, and also a personal dialogue with me, if you want to have it. So, until the next time that we meet, you live your life with substance, and yours will be a life with plentiful charisma. Take care.